Well, there are over 100 conversations with witnesses on my YouTube channel here that show I'm telling the truth. I have a lot of stuff in emails, and I posted some of that here on YouTube. There's a lot of evidence to go through, though, and there's a lot more that I don't have access to. My public pretenders all across the board would not do their jobs. They don't have to, they get paid either way. Every one of these public pretenders complained to me about how they have overwhelming caseloads. Was that my decision? No, it was not. There was 2 GoFundMes set up for me that I was trying to set them up myself before Natalie was killed. Problem is, I had zero luck getting that done because I don't know how to do that shit. Now, because of Candace Bondurant playing victim, not showing the whole story, that got posted all over the internet. And people want to complain at me about posting stuff all over the internet. I'm going to tell you what, if it's okay for them, but it's not okay for me, then we live in a Nazi society. A lot of people keep saying, oh, well, you know, if the poor people have the same rights as the rich people, then we live in a socialist society. Well, the Nazis called themselves socialists now, didn't they? Democracy is supposed to mean we all have the same rights. That's what the Constitution is supposed to guarantee. But it doesn't guarantee shit. See, in order for your rights to actually matter, people have to stand up and fight for your rights. But after the slander against me and the hatred that was created as a result of that slander, nobody gave a fuck about my rights. There was a lot of people that claimed to, but they never spoke up. Now, while the Bollingers were busy slandering me in Facebook groups, not just the Bollingers, but 2 of Natalie's ex-stepmothers. These are all a bunch of addicts, by the way. Matter of fact, I have screenshots that prove that. I have thousands upon thousands of screenshots of evidence. Now, these screenshots prove that I'm telling the truth as well. There is so much evidence that I have gathered that it would literally take a team from the FBI years to go through it. And there would be hundreds of police officers. Well, maybe not hundreds, but at least 100 law enforcement officers would be placed under arrest. At least 12 public pretenders would be placed under arrest. Most of the Bollinger family would be placed under arrest. Both of Natalie's ex-stepmothers would be placed under arrest. And Rose M. Kelly would be placed under arrest. That's Natalie's mother. These people wanted to play victim, wanted to pretend that I would do bad shit. Oh, with all due respect, that's not how the law is supposed to work. And people keep telling me, well, you know, show me the law that says this and show me the law that says that. I'm going to tell you what. The way that the law actually works and the way that it is on paper are completely different. Because on paper, it's against the law for police to do what they did. But in reality, because nobody gave a fuck about my rights enough to actually speak out, they get to do whatever the hell they want. And that's the difference between being in a house with a family and being homeless on your own. No matter how many people said that they wanted to help me, none of them actually helped me how I needed. All of the stuff they consider help was just prolonging the bullshit and dragging it out. The help that I needed was somebody to go in with me in person. That was the only way that any of this was going to work out. If someone went in with me to speak to the police, to force them to take a look at the evidence instead of giving me the mentally ill treatment. Now, because these officers pulled that bullshit and had to cover it up what they were doing, they denied a great many people the right to file a police report. People who were angry at me for posting it on Facebook. Their claims. Now, if their claims are true, then these officers need to be in prison. If their claims are untrue, then these people need to be in prison. Nobody should go through this much abuse for things they didn't do. And nobody should have to break the law to defend themselves against predators. Many of the women who called me up needing a hero, who wanted to play victim later on because I told those stories, there's a reason that I told those stories. Either those women were fucking with my head to try to get free shit, or those women allowed predators to go free to do it again. I never should have had to deal with these people. I never should have had to go back to Candace for help. She offered to help me, but didn't keep her word. See, here's the thing. All of these people who were pissed off at me for doing the things to them that were done to me need to pay attention to the fact that I did to them what they, in specific, had done to me. Now then there's the harassment. I have to deal with harassment no matter what. Instead of getting an honest day in court, the police refused to look at evidence. Instead of talking to me like a human being, these people who tell me to man up, instead of manning up as they call it, they had their families and friends do their dirty work. Now, jurisdiction. Police had no problems, and the courts had no problems with jumping across jurisdictions to say, look, this happened here, and this happened here, and this happened here. Except the things that they're claiming happened in all these places didn't happen. They have no proof of any of those things happening, but they made those claims anyway. And none of my public pretenders would do their goddamn jobs. Now, there's a way to make this work. And that way is the way that I told people to begin with. Without Miss Peaches writing down what it is she said she was going to write down. Without her going in with me, or someone going in with me who knew what the fuck was going on, the police were able to do terrible things to me because they knew that I was trying to turn in their fellow officers. Fuck the police. What I want is an honest day in court or a bullet to my head. Fuck the police. Fuck the United States. Now, those of you who are spoiled enough to live in houses and not end up homeless, who had a good start, you want to try to justify your bias and your cruelty towards the homeless by saying, Oh, well, you know, I busted my ass for my car when I was in high school. That's right. When you were in high school, when your parents were paying the bills and paying for the food that went into your belly, you didn't do it all by yourself. None of you did anything all by yourself. You didn't. You have always been dependent on others. Always. You say that you didn't because you have too much pride. That conversation with Lori outside a pumpkin pantry. Lori's pissed about that. Well, she can go ahead and stay pissed. Because the fact is, what her daughter did was completely wrong. And Lori's judgment and passing of judgment to me repeatedly before that is what led me to record that. Her talking about how Candace has some daughters that she has to be afraid for. What were we talking about at the time? Police corruption here in this town, in Haxton, Colorado. That's how law enforcement works. And that's why body cameras need to be made mandatory. Many of these police officers, their body cameras needed to be requisitioned because it shows that they omitted evidence and outright lied on police reports. So did the Bollingers. However, instead of taking a look at the evidence and investigating the harm that came to me repeatedly, I got the mentally ill treatment. No matter what, it's always the mentally ill treatment. If I'm assaulted, I get the mentally ill treatment. If I am threatened, I get the mentally ill treatment. Then these officers tell me I need to call 911. Well, what happened when I called 911? What happened at my grandma's funeral when I called 911? Do you know why I chased that officer down here in town? Because calling 911 didn't work. Then I'm supposed to be honest with these people who harm me for being honest. I want my life to be over. That is honest. But I'm not trying to kill myself. I'm trying to get an honest day in court. And I'm trying to get these officers put in prison. These officers all know this. And they will do everything in their power to prevent me from doing so. Fuck the United States. This country is fucking nasty. And anybody who wants to tell me that what happened to me is okay, for any reason, deserves death. And just because I'm not willing to kill them, doesn't mean that I don't wish death upon them. Because between them doing this to other human beings and their lives being over, I would rather their lives be over so they couldn't do this to another human being. When people needed help, I helped them. When I needed help, people procrastinated because they were too busy getting stoned, too busy getting drunk, too busy getting high, too busy shooting stuff up in their veins, and too busy hiding their wrongdoing and the wrongdoing of their friends, family, and coworkers. Fuck this goddamn country.